Okay, so hi, good evening. My name is Luis Medina, and I'm going to be talking about islets transplantation. As a pre-med major, I enjoy to share what the scientific world works on every single day. Innovative works that gradually change our lives. The topic that I'll be talking about is a clinical trial that has been proven to be effective. This procedure is called the islets of langerhans. Islets were first described by Paul Langerhans, a German physician in 1869. Islets are a group of cells in your pancreas. As we know, the pancreas makes hormones that help with food digestion. So here's another description of what the islets of Langerhans is. Islets contain different types of cells, such as beta cells. Beta cells make hormone insulin and are also found in the pancreas. Let's keep in mind that beta cells facilitates the glucose uptake that controls glucose levels. So as we know, a regular pancreas should have at least 4 million islets for it to function properly. I provided the islet volume, which is zero point 0.5 or 2 centimeters cubed, and also the pancreatic polypeptide cells and how much of the PP cell is found in an islet cell, which is at least 1% or 2% max. So here I have a table that I found in one of the articles that I used. I'm going to be explaining those numbers. So the upper arrows represent a stimulatory effect. The arrows that go downward represent the inhibitory effect. And I'm going to be providing the full meaning of every abbreviation that we see in the cell type column. So the CCK is a cholecytokinin. DVI stands for diazepam binding inhibitor. GRP stands for gastrin releasing inhibitor. IAPP stands for islet amyloid polypeptide. TRH stands for thyrotropin releasing hormone, and VIP stands for vasoactive intestinal polypeptide. So this table just explains its stimulatory and inhibitory effects on insulin secretion, and it provides the cell types so that we know, so that we have an idea of how this islet donation and transplantation works for both parties, for the donor and for the patient. So more about beta cells. Beta cells sense sugar in the blood, which contributes to blood sugar levels, and the loss of beta cells leads to no insulin production. So here's where diabetes type 1 comes in. As I was saying, diabetes type 1 is caused by a mistaken attack of the immune system towards beta cells. So this is where the clinical trial kicks in. And I'll be talking more about the importance of this clinical trial and procedure later on. So here we have how the islet transplantation works. So we have the donor and the patient. So the separation of, we have, okay. So you can see in the picture, uh, the separation of the islet cells is provided. Oh my god, no. Hold on. I'm gonna block this. How do you block this? Hold on. I'm just gonna do it like that. Anyway, I'm just gonna move on. Okay, so I provided this picture to emphasize that more PP cells, which you know are pancreatic polypeptide cells, are found in the head of the pancreas, which regulates pancreatic secretion activities. So this stabilizes the procedure in between the recipient and the donor. There are two drugs that are provided in this procedure, which are Cenapex and Rapamune. And we also have Prograf, and those are the ones given after the transplantation. Also, we have two immunosuppressive drugs, which are sirolimus and tacrolimus. So these drugs are to be taken for the rest of the life of the patient that received the islet transplantation, so that its body keeps on working, especially the homeostasis of the organism of its immune system. So these drugs are sirolimus, which is an which is a mTOR inhibitor, which prevents organ rejection after transplant, and we have tacrolimus, which prevents organ rejection as well in its oral form. It helps treat skin rash and atopic dermatitis, a type of eczema. And this is a calcineurin inhibitor. Here we also have the beta cell replacement bacteria, and we can see how a catheter is inserted in the liver and how the bag is there for the storage of the islet flow. And after this procedure is done, we are expecting to see a development of new blood supply for insulin production from transplanted cells. The risks of this procedure are blood clotting and the side effects from immunosuppressive drugs, which are the ones that I mentioned, sirolimus and tacrolimus, as well as the drugs that are to be taken right after the transplantation, and also body reaction. A lot of research has been done, and a lot of medical studies are done before this transplantation, but the human body is very unpredictable. So, although the results could show that both parties are a match, something else could happen, and you just can't control that. So, yeah, body rejection is also a risk in this procedure, which is minimal, but we still have to keep in mind that things happen in the human body. The importance of this islet transplantation procedure is to minimize the daily insulin intake in a diabetic person. So in this case, speaking from personal experience, my grandpa, which is now dead, he had diabetes type 1. So if I were to know about this procedure, I would have definitely loved to taught him how this procedure works so that we could, work something towards his disease. Unfortunately, he died because of it. So I feel like we could avoid a lot of deaths from diabetes if this topic is talked about often. Also, for personal reasons, I am very interested in public health situations. So I feel like this is a public health solution. So if this is more talked about, we can bring awareness so that everyone knows that there is a solution to diabetes, at least a permanent, well, not permanent, but at least a long term solution. This procedure has been known to be effective up to 10 years. So, I mean, 10 years of life are guaranteed from this procedure. So, I'm assuming that that would be good. Like, if I were to know about this procedure earlier, I know that I would have my grandpa here for another 10 years. But, and that's all. Oh, no, JK. I was going to discuss, I think I have to discuss the reason why I chose to talk about this. No, JK. The difficulties of this project. Okay, so first of all, I'm a very awkward person. Like, I stutter a lot. And, well, Not always, but I mean when I have to present or something. I like to talk, but there's a difference between talking and presenting. So I feel like I do struggle a little bit with that because I'm like too awkward for that. So yeah, I feel like that's a struggle for me, a difficulty of this project. Another thing was the heavy reading that I had to do in order to get this data in and to make sure that it is reliable sources. Um, I think another difficulty of this was the fact that I worked on this like for a week and a half. So it was quite chaotic because I also had more projects to work on and other final exams. So yeah, but overall I enjoyed to talk about this, although I feel like it's too trashy, too messy, but I mean, I really tried. I really liked to work on this project, and I hope that you like it too. Thank you.